We're gonna let you do the intro.
No, we're not. Your voice is going with us. Ready to go. Yep,
Watch
silence.
this. And action.
What's up? You scared me.
Welcome to Quest for Player 2, where we are your geek's dating guide to love. It's not just love, it's about friendship as
Love.
well.
Companionship, that's what you said.
Relationships, discovering yourself, self-discovery. But she's Jessica, I am Joe. We just got off of flights. She was in Atlanta, I was in Chicago. But now we're back right here at the Comic Bug at Manhattan Beach and on YouTube to join you guys, the beautiful, beautiful people of that hashtag show. We want to thank you guys so much for tuning in because we can't do it without you.
True.
So right now, I mean, earlier on Instagram, we were talking about your trip to Atlanta and my trip to Chicago.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, how was your trip?
In a nutshell, it was amazing. Lots of fun, good family time, celebrating Jordan's birthday, Falcons game. It was great. We had a really nice time. Sometimes it's really hard to come back from vacation, don't you think? Like I get a little
That's the thing.
Sad
I can't
coming
say
back.
that because I haven't had a vacation. This is all.
I guess you always
traveling.
work.
Yeah, me for traveling is a lot different than you traveling.
True story.
Because it's straight up work, and it's weird because when I go on these trips, it's like you're either gonna love it or you're gonna just be whatever. Like, luckily I did know a couple people, so I was able to hang out with a couple people.
Yeah, you didn't feel lonely.
But now I think I'm getting more used to like just doing my own thing. I think I'm becoming a I don't even give a fuck kind of guy.
I feel like you're a good loner. Like you're the guy at the bar by himself, but you don't care that you are the bar.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's some people who go in looking for somebody to talk to, but I feel like you're the one that just doesn't care.
Not anymore. And I do find people to talk to. Usually, like, people are very talkative. I guess I kind of got that vibe.
Yeah.
I'm a good
Friendly.
person to talk to at a bar.
Cool. So you had fun. You had good food.
Yeah, food was great. Chicago's a beautiful city, and I'm hoping that I get to go back very soon because I actually love. It was cold. The one thing that hit me right off the bat though was that as soon as I got off the plane, because when we were in LA, you were here. What time? When did you leave?
Wednesday. Well, early Thursday morning.
Oh, okay, so you weren't here for the thunderstorms and stuff.
No, we had rained.
Yeah. So not just rain, but
I love rain.
We had a lot of thunderstorms out here. That Friday
Weird,
before I
okay.
left, I thought somebody was dragging a trash can like outside because it was
From the
so
thunder?
much. Yeah, and it was thunder. So we had a lot of thunder here in LA.
The
It was
thunder,
raining,
the
and then
lightning.
I got a funny story about the airport. But I got to I got to the airport and it was raining, and I was like, man, it kind of sucks. I'm leaving and the rain's happening. It's like, well, it's kind of cooler here in LA. But then getting off the plane and walking into Chicago,
Cold.
where it was sunny, deceivingly sunny, and then you walk off and it's 40 fucking degrees, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
You're not bitter at all.
Yeah, man, it was brisk.
Did you bring anything warm?
I brought a
light jacket?
All I have is light jackets, so I don't have any
no.
I don't
Puffy
have scarves.
coats?
I was like freezing, dude. My nipples were hard the whole time. But
What are we in October? Yeah, that would make sense.
But I do have a fun story. So, can you pull up a picture from my Facebook? I'll vamp for a second, but a picture of me, what I was wearing when I was at the Bean. So I was wearing like
The
this
Bean.
burgundy suit, right? This
Yeah.
burgundy suit with this like flowery shirt. It was cool.
Ooh.
Right? So
Did you have to dress up?
no, I just did it for the junket purposes.
Got it.
But so I was wearing this, and I was going back to the airport, and at the airport, I was in TSA, as you usually are in a line.
Sure.
And there were these two girls that were like ahead of me, and they they were like, one girl looked at me, and then the other girl like looked at me, and she was like, "Hey, like, you're like, I love what you're wearing," and she goes, "Are you an actor?" And I said, "No." She was like, "Well, what do you do?" And I was like, "Well, I'm an entertainment journalist." And she was like, "Oh, that makes sense, right?" And then she was like, "Well, then I was like, they were like, oh, well, you can interview us." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." When we get to the other side, so we got back around, and they were like, "Oh, what's our friend again?" Finally got out of TSA. Their flight got delayed. My flight got delayed by an hour.
Where were they going?
They were going back to Minnesota.
Minnesota.
They were, yeah, and one of them actually had that kind of accent.
Oh, yeah.
Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they were both attractive girls, and we ended up just drinking for like 2 hours. It was the best. What were their names?
In the airport?
Yeah, Tamara and what was it? And Ashley.
Oh, I see why that outfit was striking. Oh, yeah, that's a good color for you. For sure.
Yeah, maybe that burgundy works for me. That's why in the Power Ranger little thing we're doing, that's gonna be my thing. But
that's a great picture, actually.
Chicago skyline. It was beautiful.
Sears Tower, like it.
Yeah. Guys, thank you for joining again. Share out this video. We're going to be talking about first dates. we're gonna dive right into this as we kind of explore what we've been doing. Oh, I got to tell you another story.
Wait, finish that one. Did you guys end up connecting?
Yeah. We're like Facebook friends now.
Okay, cool.
And they actually, there was a guy friend, because I guess they all went to college together, and they were meeting up with him. He was going off to, oh man, where was he going? Like Florida or somewhere. And him and I exchanged numbers because the hotel I was staying at, which is called the St. Jane, which is a beautiful hotel in Chicago, he actually was the one that designed it and was the one that kind of runs it. And he was like, yeah, super random and by chance.
Kind of young for that position, huh?
Well, he was like 35, but like he does a hotel in Newport Beach, and he's like, I come out to LA a lot. Let's hang out, and I'll hook you up with food.
Dude, that's a great way to network at an airport. That's a great idea.
Yeah, he was a super cool dude, and like all of them were really, really nice. And I always tend to find, I find really cool people at airports that I just kind of hang out with. That sounds kind of weird, but...
Like attracts like.
So let me tell you a little story about today.
All right.
She asked me earlier, because I was telling her, she was asking me earlier that you seem a little down today.
And I wasn't going to say anything because, look, when somebody's down, the last thing you want to do sometimes is talk about it when you're about to talk to the world on the internet.
But
so
this
I
is
understand.
the kind of shows, I mean, especially with this kind of stuff, we kind of do that, right?
That's true. I know. But that was the time, because I really don't know why you're down, but I felt it. I felt it when I walked in.
It was weird. So, I think, I don't know how it's, so I was with my sister over, as I said, in Chicago. Mm-hmm. And my ex-girlfriend, the one that we talked about, the one that lives not too far away.
Oh, no.
Instagrammed me, or, like she slid into my DMs, I guess.
She slid.
She DM'd me and was like, hey, it's cool, like, that you got to reconnect your sister, blah, blah. We got into a small conversation. And I asked her, because she was going to quit her job. She has a pretty good job. She was going to quit and just travel around.
Mm-hmm. Was that weird for her to say that? Like, glad you got to reconnect? Like,
why? What do you mean?
Was there other intentions behind her saying, glad you got to reconnect with your sister? Or are you guys friends so that wasn't weird?
Me and her, or me and my sister?
No, if your ex to slide into your DMs.
No. Okay. Because we talk from time to time quite often. Everyone start cheering Joe up now. So we...
See, I know they feel it. They feel it too.
So we do talk from time to time. Last time I actually saw her, I took her to the premiere of Cars 3. Like not last June, but I think the June before maybe.
Okay.
Or it might have been last June. It was somewhere around there. Anyway, we ended up. She ended up talking to me, and she was like, I asked her, I was like, hey, so are you gonna still take that? Are you still quitting and taking that trip to travel? And she was like, well, I want to save up a little bit more money because I don't know how the job market's gonna be, and there's a big campaign that we're doing in January. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I was like, hey, so she told me everywhere she was going. I was like, are you going by yourself? And then she was like, no, I'm going with my boyfriend. And I was like, oh, man. I don't know why that hurt. It didn't hurt me. It did, actually. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, I love that you admit it. Okay,
good. It did. It would. You know what? For all of you Power Ranger fans out there, the best way I can describe it, I'm going to read it to you. Just as like.
Yeah, do it.
For the people that are watching, just to, like, as it felt very much like Tommy when he got dumped by Kimberly. Here, I'm going to read it to you, though. If I can find it.
Interesting.
Talk while I find this.
This is interesting because I'm trying to think about the relationship between you two. And every time I say, do you want to get back with her? Your response is, no. We're just really good friends. It's like, it works out. We're great friends. She lives nearby. Like, we just kept it really cool. So deep down, what you weren't telling us all.
Here we go. I asked, where do you plan on traveling to? A bit all over Central, South America, Europe, Asia, fingers crossed. That's amazing. Are you going to all these places by yourself? That's a lot of places. She wrote, the plan is to go with my BF, and then she put like this emoji.
You're like, please say best friend.
and then LOL. And I was like, and I wrote, that's
this emoji.
Yeah, and then I wrote, that's, because I think she was like afraid to tell me.
Yeah, of course.
And I wrote, that's awesome. I'm sure you guys are going to have an awesome time. She wrote,
okay, go on.
She wrote, yeah, I'm excited. He's a great guy. You'd really like him. What's
That's
new with you dating anyone? And then we kind of got into the conversation because I am kind of dating someone. But anyway.
What did I miss? I've been gone 5 days. What? You're dating someone?
You knew this. We literally talked about it on an episode. The girl I met on a press trip. We talked about this.
Yeah, we did talk about it. But when you... Okay, gotcha. So that's what... You're dating somebody. Got it.
But it's different
deep down, you didn't... maybe you didn't realize you had those feelings for your ex until she said... Until you move on, it's really... Because there's like that weird in-between.
Jessica, you know, I've been having the strangest dreams about her. And
Yes.
I told you
Oh,
this.
so maybe you saw it coming, or like you felt it coming or something.
Maybe it's been super super weird and
Weird.
and literally like after I found out the news. Oh, by the way, then I had to take my dad to get his glasses because he got new glasses. And I ended up taking him to the doctors. And then I remember I was in the car the whole time and I was just doing my own thing. And then that was really quick. We went to get something to eat. And then I went home. I dropped him off, went home, and then slept for 6 hours. So when I get sad, I just sleep.
Do you notice that? Is that something that occurs?
Yeah, I think
like
this is a thing.
pattern?
I think it is because I kind of like just this is my escape. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not I drink a lot when I'm awake and just normal, but I actually don't drink that much. A lot. That's a misconception. Believe it or not, I probably drink more doing these shows than I ever do like in real life.
Yeah, and when you're traveling, it's like after the junkets, you're like,
Yeah, but I don't. My vice is so I hate sleeping, and everybody knows that I really don't like
You
sleeping.
get like 45 minutes a night.
Yeah,
Very
so
unhealthy.
I don't like sleeping, and then I went to sleep at 1 and woke up at 7, and then I was like, where'd the day go?
See, but that's. I mean, it's like when it's a symptom of depression, right? Like when people get depressed, they sleep. So maybe that was your way of just being like.
It's my way of coping.
Escaping, yeah.
And
or like not trying to think about it. So.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Look, I'm happy for her.
But then that's the thing. I just feel like if you both feel that way, why didn't you try? Why don't you? Well, it's not over. It's a boyfriend.
over.
But I'm just saying, like, you think?
I mean,
Because you both clearly, if she
Look.
gave you that emoji and then you were having dreams about her and kind of felt hurt by that, then you both obviously have something there.
I get in this mood of, and I'm very stubborn, as I'm sure everybody here knows, is that when I am done, like I'm like, all right. Like with breakups, whatever it may be, I just cut myself off. And to me, it's the grieving process of like, I know I have to. It's almost kind of like, this is gonna be super morbid. I'm gonna say this. When someone dies, I have to go through this grieving process of like, it doesn't affect me at the time, and it only hits me when I get to a funeral, and then it hits me like a hard wave, and then maybe for like 3 days, I'll really reflect on our relationship, and after that, I just cut it out of my head. So, this is very much a very similar situation where
Do you go through like denial, anger, or
not
maybe
denial.
It's not denial.
I immediately I went through. Oh, like I think the reason I was so sad about it was because it seemed this time more of like a finality of like, okay,
Yeah.
this isn't happening.
That makes sense.
It's done. I can kind of put this relationship to rest, even though that there was always kind of like this glimmer. Go ahead.
Yes.
We got a call
we got a
already.
call.
Holy crap! We haven't even started talking about the subject. But we got a
know.
call.
And
Watch
for
it
that,
be
I'm
her, and then
sorry,
we pass.
Joe.
No, it's all good. Go ahead. Let's put the call through. We haven't even got on the subject though. But yeah, who's with us?
Yeah, who do we got?
Anyway,
Okay.
but yeah, that's the way I kind of like.
You know,
deal with it.
now with the way you explain that makes sense to me. Because it's not that you guys both wanted to get back together, or maybe you did, but you knew it wouldn't work for whatever reason. But that finality of, it's like when somebody, like you said, gets another girlfriend or boyfriend, or gets married or
But I think
engaged, you
it's
kind of have that like cutoff where it's like, wow, no matter what, we are not getting back together.
It's a little different now, mainly because hold on, we'll get to you right in a second. I love your fucking suit, by the way.
Yes.
I think the more so the reason is that we were together a while back, and that was like my first real love.
Yeah.
And then we were together 5 years, lived together for a while.
That's a long time.
We're gonna get married. I didn't want to. And then every reason, and I have nobody to blame but myself necessarily, because every reason why we were not together was because of me.
Yeah.
I didn't want to stay in the relationship. I wanted to just see what was out there. And even when she wanted to get back together, I didn't want to do that either. And then I wanted to give it more time. And then it's always my mistake is like giving it too much time and then not pulling in. But you know what? I can't complain about my life. There's a lot worse that could happen. I do wish her the best because she's a really good girl and she really deserves somebody that's gonna do right by her. So
yeah.
I'm all.
And you did what's right for you. You know, that's good. Instead of jumping into a marriage just because you thought it was right or whatever, that was good.
Anyway, we got a call. Let's welcome our guest on right now. How you doing, man? You look sharp.
Oh, thanks, guys. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you sound a little echoey. I don't know if that's on. That probably is on our end.
Probably us.
So we're just gonna bear with it. So talk to us. Well, talk to us. You called in. What's your name, buddy?
Real name's Abram, but I go by Tom for sure. First time calling in.
Wait, say that one more time.
I'm here at Starbucks.
Can't really hear you. Say that one more time.
Sorry, I'm calling from Starbucks.
Oh shit! It's calling from Starbucks.
Starbucks. Oh, did you just
So-
get off work?
Yeah, but I'm on my headset. My headset died.
He's not using a headset.
So,
That's awesome, man. What's your question for us, bro? What's your story?
still stuck on the first date from someone I dated 5 years ago, and she doesn't act like I exist anymore.
Oh,
Oh, and how long did you guys date, or was it only one date?
It was 3 days.
3 dates. And did you want to stay
So
friends, or?
she wanted to stay friends initially, and then 6 months because I graduated after we broke up, and then 6 months she cut off contact with me. In the following year, she followed me on social media.
Interesting. Did things end badly, or did something happen, or it was just kind of a random? She just blocked you on everything.
Yeah, she blocked me on everything.
wow.
And I did try to keep in touch with her and all that, but nah.
Yeah, and you have no idea why.
At this point, I honestly don't care.
Of course. You know what it could be is if she moved on and like her new guy that she's dating saw you on social media and asked who you were. Maybe it was like a jealousy thing, or maybe it was a way of her moving on and just to try to get it out of her head. You know what I mean?
Well, it could be because for me, it was more like it just got awkward because I was just trying to be like, hey, how you been? What's up? What's new? I still have friends of hers that are my friends too. And from what I hear from them, her life got a lot better than mine. So I'm a little upset, to put it like that.
Let me tell you. So, what's your name again?
It's Abram.
Abram. Let me tell you right now, Abram. Just looking at you, you're a sexy beast. Look at that. You're a well-dressed
I was
dude.
gonna say, yeah,
Like
you're-
you aren't gonna have any problems. Listen, I think that everybody, and I just told you, everybody, the world, my story of what I'm dealing with right now. It's not even a big deal. I mean, in retrospect, it's not a big deal. We all go through our personal kind of journeys, but those kind of things. Listen, without these kind of issues, it would just make us kind of like going through the motions. And honestly, I'm kind of happy that I'm dealing with this because now I'm very strange in the way that like when something like this kind of happens to me, I get hyper focused on something else. And that to me is my way of coping. And then I sleep a lot as well. But then for you, dude, you got from the looks of it, you got what you need to succeed. And honestly, man, the one thing that I've learned throughout all this process is that for sure 100% is that it doesn't matter. You know what? You're sitting in a Starbucks right now. Your perfect match could be there. He's like, he looks around and there's like nothing.
Right, maybe.
But your perfect match could be there. It could be anywhere, man. I wouldn't put too much stock into this one girl. This is think of it like this. This is a road bump in your journey of life. And right now,
Well,
go ahead, bro.
it's kind of a little bit difficult because this to put things in perspective. I haven't gone out with anybody in 5 years. I've been interested in different women since. However, it's my luck never turns out. Like I always feel like ever I leave a relationship, I'm worse off than I was before. Even though like professionally, my life's getting a little bit better, but I get level one. And I feel like every time I'm in a relationship, it's better, and worse.
Well, let me tell you something right now is that we talk about this. This is an ongoing theme throughout everything her and I say is that right now you look confident because you hold your head up, man. You look confident. And I think that once you there you go.
Hey.
There you go. You look confident. And I think that once that kind of filters through, people are going to be able to see that confidence. And believe it or not, no matter who you are, anybody watching, you, Matthew Thompson, Layla, Ryan Ninja Steel, Tom Craven. Well, Tom's married. But for all of you guys out there that are just kind of like maybe down on your luck when it comes to this side of relationships or even dating or whatever it may be, hold your head up just a little higher and know that you have something to offer because at the end of the day, honestly, that is the most attractive thing to anybody. Male, female, straight,
Yep.
gay, it doesn't matter.
Because it comes off as self-love, because that's what confidence is, right? So when you feel that, other people will feel that as well. Also, I feel like it's kind of like what we said about rejection. Like every time you go through something, whether it's relationship related or something else, you know, in retrospect, don't you look behind and go, wow, that was a doozy, but look at, now I can deal with anything. You know what I mean? So these are just like, it sucks. And I remember when I got broken up with, I remember people saying, there's plenty other fish in the sea, you're so young, blah, blah, blah. And that didn't help me because in the moment, it really does suck. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. It hurts. You don't want to feel it anymore. But, you know, like Joe was saying, just be confident and immerse yourself in healthy outlets, whether that's hanging out with your friends or going to the gym or working hard or, you know, doing things that are good for you that make you feel better. And then just, you know, your luck will change. You are young, and your luck will change.
And Abram,
it's all about timing.
You're a good-looking dude, and the fact of the matter is that you got your whole life ahead of you. And right now, you made the first step by calling in and just putting yourself out there in the world, brother.
No
because
kidding.
Here's the deal: there's a lot of people in this chat and in our team, in our group here at Hashtag Show that are down for the support. And man, trust me, get those confidence levels up. You're gonna see everything else go up, man. But I'm happy to hear that professionally you're doing better. And now, you know what? This girl from the past, next on to the next.
Yep.
So Abram, we're happy for you, brother. Thanks for calling in, man.
Thank you, Abram.
Thanks, guys. And
All
I'll
right.
keep following your show too.
Oh, thanks a
Thank
lot, man. We hope that
you.
we can convert you over to Quest for Player 2 because we really want to. I mean, like this is a show just really about Jessica and I just shooting the shit and talking about life. So thank you for joining our track. Our track
Record of dating.
Track record of whatever it may be. But thanks so much, man. Later, man.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
All right, let's get into this now. This is Abram just opened it up for us. Let's talk about this
kidding.
first
That
date
was,
thing.
Yeah, I like that. That was a good combo. Yeah. So first dates, best date, worst date.
Yeah.
Do you have a story? Should we start it off with a story or?
I used to be a great first dater. I'm a terrible first date now.
Why is that? Stop caring.
No. I think that you know when you go through a relationship so much, I think when you're younger, you want to impress more.
Yeah.
I'm in a point now where I want to be impressed.
Yes.
So now for me, first dates are more of a formality of like, listen, I think I used to look at them a lot differently too because when I was younger, I looked at first dates almost as like, almost as kind of like, hey, this is what I want to show you that I can provide you.
Yeah.
Now I look at first dates as, let me just see if I can get through a conversation with you.
Correct. I do still think the first date is that courting stage, where, you know what I mean? But you're right. I mean, it is a formality. It's getting through, can we be in the same room together without killing each other? We're clearly somewhat attracted to each other, but now can we get along? Because that's not always the case if you're attracted to each other. Trust. But yeah, what's the best first date you've ever been on? Like, what do you? Yeah, we'll start with that. What's the best
I think
first
in
date?
my younger years, I think that they were, and I'm not like a 40-year-old man. I'm getting close though, but Tom Craven gives us super chat. I just wanted a super chat. Thanks so much, Tom. He's in a successful marriage. He loves being married.
Oh, he called in last
Congratulations,
time,
Tom.
right? Or
Tom's
two
a man.
times
I
ago.
want him to call in tonight, talk about his first date with his wife, which would be kind of fun.
That's right. Thanks, Tom.
My first dates usually they used to be me trying to impress people. Now
Yeah.
I'm over that. I've learned a couple things along the way as well. I literally one time met a girl driving. As we were driving side by side. Stoplight. She asked for directions. She was all her.
Oh,
she asked for
wow.
directions. I gave her said directions, and she was like, "Hey, do you have a girlfriend?" I was like, "No." "Hey, take my number." And I was like, "Okay." And then we went on a date. She was actually a reporter, like a news reporter.
Wow.
And she was like, it didn't work out because it was we just had nothing in common.
Yeah.
But
Was there chemistry? No chemistry.
no, not really. I think it was just a physical attraction thing. But like, anyway, my first dates usually I don't like the movies, so to me that's a no-no. I feel like here's the reason why. I know you do or you did, but
I think I used to. Yeah.
the reason
I
why
did
I
say
don't
that.
like the movies. So anybody that's never been on a date, Layla said she's never been on a date because she's still in high school. But
Okay.
I'm just gonna say right now, I think the movies are a cop out if mainly because you're not getting to know somebody and you're sitting there with them for 2 hours letting a screen dictate how you feel at the end of that.
But
day.
it wouldn't be inappropriate, let's say, for somebody who's more introverted, who the thought of sitting there having a conversation with somebody brand new after either taking them to dinner or whatever, like, don't you think that's at least maybe a good starting point for somebody who...
No.
No? Okay.
Well, Matthew Thompson brings up a great point. He says first date is kind of like a job interview,
Yes.
and it totally is.
It really is.
It's like feeling out like whether or not you can see yourself compatible, at least very least for
Yeah,
the second date.
it's the foundation. Like,
tell
do
you-
our values even line up? Like,
I went on a Tinder date. I hate Tinder dates, first of all. I think I went on 3 maybe. I went on 1, and we went to this little cafe in like Studio City or Burbank or something. By the way, I live in Manhattan Beach, and I complain about it all the time. about going to the Valley. You know this. Josh
I know.
knows this. Everybody knows
I
this.
love the Valley.
I went on a date with this girl. We went to this small, tiny cafe. It was really cool. Nice. Had like a nice lunch.
Aroma.
And I told her straight up, I was like, listen, I've never really done this before because you don't know who you're meeting. It could be anybody, right? And she was like, well, did I pass to get a second date? And I said, yeah. And I just never talked to her again.
Oh, no. See, you
It was
ghosted.
awkward because she lied to me in the beginning.
Why'd she lie?
She said her name on her profile was something. She's like, well, my real name is this. And I was like, it's a red flag. You can't even put your fucking real name on this.
For safety reasons, maybe?
I don't care.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. If you're going to make a profile, at least start with the name as the first.
It's the least of your worries. The least of your worries.
That's a true story.
Anyway, but first dates, what do I like to do? I like to do something that's interactive, but it makes you actually connect with the person that you're with, or at least makes you spark the conversation.
I'm a conversationalist.
Me
I don't
too.
want something in it. Like, I don't want to go to, I don't want to go to an escape room for a first date. I don't want to be
Wow, that's
challenged.
interesting. I've never even heard of that. People thinking.
I mean, I'm just thinking of something that would make me genuinely uncomfortable as a first date. And to be fair, I've only been on a few first dates.
That's not true.
No, it's true, because in our hookup culture, and I'm obviously guilty of it as well, a lot of it was
That's
getting
true.
to know somebody at their place or at my place. So I didn't count that as a first date. It was a first time meeting, and we can kind of feel each other out, but it really wasn't like, there was no courtship on my part or his part. There was only like 2 or 3 times where it was really like a full-blown, really nice date. And one of the guys was older than me, and the other guy didn't call me back. So that was fun.
Okay, so a couple fun facts here. We're gonna do this kind of like a do's and don'ts. Number one, don't
Yeah.
me personally.
Okay.
Do you have you don't have a big pad and paper to do your thing today?
No, not today, because it's
Okay.
all mental.
That's good. So, number one, I think we both can rule this out. No dinner and a movie on a first date.
Sure. Yes, I do agree with that.
Because I think that sets the precedent of, it's almost like relying on a crutch. Of the movie having to be entertaining enough, and then after that, your dinner, then you having to live up to the dinner. What if the movie's really good and your dinner's really bad? You know what I mean?
Well, and that's what I was reading online, too, because I was thinking, I'm like, has anybody even studied the art of a first date? And of course they have. There's tons of relationship experts and whatnot. But they were saying a lot of the time, you add too much pressure even going out to dinner. So why are you paying all this money for just to see, like you said, if you guys can even get along, it's an investment just to meet. They were saying, well, maybe it's something smaller and more, it's still intimate, but it's more casual, like a coffee shop. Like, let's go get coffee. If you don't drink coffee, drink tea. If you don't drink tea, get a hot chocolate. You know what I mean? Like going to a coffee shop
And
where
that's not
it's
how you spell don'ts.
do's
Okay.
and don'ts and don'ts.
That I agree with that.
But you know what I mean? Like, and that is a good date. If I was dating nowadays, a coffee date would make me feel a lot better and more comfortable. And then there's that, if you guys want to continue the date, yeah, then go continue. Go get dessert. Go walk around. But then if you both are uncomfortable, it's like, great, coffee's done. We'll talk to you later. And then you just...
I think
This is
now...
more casual. I feel like that would be a lot less pressure.
Yeah, so I've been on dates where it normally just starts with dinner. And then if you like where it's going, then you'll go
Yeah.
to like a lounge or like a bar.
Yeah, for
and
a
kind of-
drink
Yeah,
or
for a
whatever.
drink and talk. And then, well, never mind. But then it'll usually go in that direction now. When I was younger though, say you can't drink. Let's just say you can't drink. I think that there's a lot of cool things you can do.
There
though.
is, yeah.
Because I remember, man, taking girls to like the Santa Monica Pier and just hanging out.
Yeah, I was going to say, LA has way better stuff than Ohio did at the time. Like I said, we just hung out at Starbucks.
Yeah, Dave and Buster's and Starbucks.
That's right. And the movies, because they were usually connected. Starbucks across the street.
But if you don't have that, though, there's a lot of cool things. Like, LA does provide that. Because I remember I took a girl once to, what the fuck is it called? It's like, anyways, it was like you paint, you like make something.
Color Me Mine.
What?
Color Me Mine.
Color Me Mine. Yeah, I took a girl to Color Me Mine
Color
on
Me
a first date
Mine.
once.
Okay,
Yeah.
that would be actually really cool. The ceramics.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Same thing. Sporting events. I don't think are a good first dates unless you guys are both really into it.
No, I
But
agree.
That's like another thing too. But like
That's even worse than a movie
I
because
agree.
you guys can still talk, but it's so loud. So, yeah, I would not do a sports event like you said, unless you know that other person is really into it and you're doing it to kind of like, oh, I know you like this, I like this, let's do it together. Otherwise, yeah, I'm with you. I think that'd be uncomfortable.
great first dates, though, I think, are dinner for 2 reasons. And this is my theory behind this.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, I think that dinner is a great date mainly because you get, let's be honest, I think you can kind of judge people by the way they eat or the way they order. And I think that
I will go with order.
Well, yes, order. Oh, and even eat, because I feel like you're even more cautious. Like when I go to dates and business dinners or business lunches,
Oh, yeah.
like you're very cautious of the way you eat because
yeah.
you come off a very certain way. I feel
sure.
like we have another call. All right, hold on. We'll get to that in 1 second.
Ooh.
But mainly because you don't want to look like a slob, but
Yep.
you also at the same time want to have this. And I notice I eat a lot less when I'm in a business settings, mainly because it's like I don't want to be sloppy.
Yeah.
But
Even
you're
though
more
you could lick your plate, I can do that.
yeah, you're more subconscious of that.
Sure.
But I think it's more important than the way they order, and especially honestly, another way too is like, and now we live in a new era, so depending on how much they order and who they think is gonna end up picking up the bill.
See,
is
I'm
a
more
very
about
interesting thing.
how they treat the server.
Yeah, and that's another one.
That's more of like if I'm looking, if they're like, I just like to see that. But yeah, and then the bill as well. I don't really know what's the go-to with the bill.
Well,
Nowadays, I know.
Jezzer's theory, and I agree with it wholeheartedly now. Whoever invites the person on the date should pick up the bill.
Okay.
But I am so old school when it comes to this. I will
Yeah.
totally always pick up the bill
Okay. That's how you were.
because that's kind of the way I was brought up,
Sure,
and it's a
sure.
different thing.
It's
But
get that.
yeah, I'm all about that. But it is kind of refreshing though. Listen, I think so. This is my test when I go on a first date with a girl.
yeah.
Is like, let's say a bill comes, and let's say you're the girl, and like let's say the check comes, right? If we both don't reach for it, I know automatically that I'm like I'm in.
Oh, so like you want the girl to like, let me get
At the very least. At the very least.
I guess I'm a people pleaser, so I would feel weird at least not offering on a first date.
Yeah.
And then if you go, that's ridiculous, I will pay, then I'm like, okay, great.
Right. So even if it was like a false, like, well, let me, and then whatever. But at
Yeah.
the very least, making that effort.
Just to be, yeah.
Let's
Okay.
go to Tom, our second caller tonight.
Hey, Tom.
Successful marriage. Wearing his Pac-Man shirt, looking super fly. Tom Craven.
Hi guys, how's everybody doing tonight?
How you doing? You look very stoic. You're not moving in our picture.
You're frozen, but it's a good type of frozen.
Yeah.
Your face is, I always get stuck with him.
Let it go, let it go.
Oh, we got that echo again. We're gonna get rid of that echo. Tom, so I gotta ask you a question. You're in a successful marriage. I want to
Yep.
know about you and your wife's first date. Hit us with it, Tom Craven.
Well, I just had to double check with her just to clarify. So what we did is we first met at a bar. I was the bartender. She was my customer.
Yep, I remember
We
that.
chased after it, like I said. So just in conversation, we found out, well, mind you, this was also 10 years ago. So this was at the pinnacle of the rock band and the guitar here and all that. There was a local bar that had a huge setup. So it was like a karaoke rock band all at the same time.
Oh, that'd be so awesome.
Yep. So we went out for dinner, just appetizers and whatnot, and then we joined up with a few of my friends, over at the bar, and that's what we did. We closed down the place for the night. We went out and rock banded all up. She played guitar and had a big, huge smile on her face when she heard me sing, and then we went out and get some junk food at the diner.
I love
Oh, that's a really good story. Did she feel comfortable having your friends there because it kind of like took the pressure off, or was she kind of bummed it wasn't just you two?
I think it took the pressure off more for the fact that my buddy Sean, who's still one of my good friends today, as enthusiastic about being there just for the sake of being there. So he really just brought the whole tone and level down to
Good.
where everybody was comfortable.
Yeah, so it was a more relaxed, good energy. Everything felt right.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. That
That's
sounds like a
awesome,
really cool
Tom,
bar.
yeah.
That's a really. Did you plan it ahead of time, or was it kind of spur of the moment? I'm gonna ask her out when my shift's over.
No, no. Plans always lead to success.
Oh, good. Okay, that's a good word of advice too, because I know some people are like, "Screw it, I'm just gonna ask."
And Tom, I got a question. So how long was it between that date to when you asked her to marry you?
Okay, well, I don't know if I ever said this before. I was married before.
Mm-hmm.
I had an unsuccessful marriage back in my 20s. So she knew that, as far as when we were dating and after we moved in together. I waited a good, we just celebrated our 5th anniversary back in July. So
Happy
I
anniversary.
waited.
Happy anniversary.
Yep. We're actually going to Disney next weekend or weekend after next for our anniversary.
Land
That's
or
awesome.
world?
I was just gonna ask that.
World.
The world's the way to go,
Much
man.
better. I love Disney World.
I used to love my times at Disneyland, but that's a different story. But no, I waited about three and a half years before I pulled the trigger and asked her to marry me.
It's amazing.
So you dated for 3.5 years. Nice. And then how long did it take you to muster up the courage to ask her out?
Oh, months. Not
Months.
even 3-4 months, till it was real official.
That's awesome. Oh, I love that story. I like that you planned it. That's really, I like when there's thought put behind it.
And listen, this show, thank you so much for sharing, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks for calling in. And also, when I'm in Philly, Tom, I'm going to hit you up on Slack in just a second when I get off of this. We'll figure out a time to meet up.
Go to
good to
that
me.
bar. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to go to that bar, too. Tom's going to show me around Philly.
I'll do it again.
Tom, thanks so much for calling in. But the reason I love that Tom's call tonight
Okay.
is because, thanks, Tom,
Tom.
is because this is just a show about expressing feelings. Like, listen,
Yeah.
normally I'm a very...
Express, Joe. You're very open tonight. I
Well,
love
I
it.
think this is the way the show should be, right?
I know.
Is
No, it
being a
should.
super open show. Like, a lot of people see me as the host of like doing a lot of these shows, but I feel like there's a ton of people that don't actually know me.
Yeah.
I mean, even to an extent, you don't know me.
Yeah.
So like, and because I'm like Batman. I'm
Yeah.
very like elusive. I'm very
You're reserved in what you choose to share is calculated.
sure. So now I feel like let's open it up and let's let everybody else kind of like let their guards down too, and just have a fun time doing so much doing a show like
Yeah,
this.
sharing.
But Jess, you asked me a lot of questions about your first dates. I want to talk about some of yours. Josh actually is one of our producers here. Actually had a really good comment that I wanted to touch on. He said, what if it's a first date, but you guys have known each other for a while? You're trying to branch out from being friends. What's the strategy at that point? That's a harder one.
I know. I've never been in that position. Well, no. I'm trying to think. What's the good strategy? Well, obviously, I think the person who wants to make the first move, even if it's a mutual feeling of you both are like getting closer and you feel that your relationship or friendship could turn into like a romantic relationship. I would say the person that makes the first move kind of plans that date, and then because you guys know each other so well, because if you're already friends, you kind of have an idea of what the other person's into. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
So like if you...
That's more pressure though. Because
Yes,
you have to
it
assume
is.
that you really know that person.
Yeah.
And then you got to branch out of that. But I mean, if they know it's a date and you know it's a date, and it's not like, hey, let's hang out. By the way, if they both know going into that, you should already know each other. So no matter what scenario you're really in, it should be a successful one.
I think doing something fun, like what you said, like going to Color Me Mine, or like
Well, I also think
something where it's just like it's more fun, where you're still hanging out as friends, but you're also kind of being able to have those like flirty moments or having an in-depth conversation, but while doing something else that takes the pressure off. Okay, we're friends and now we're trying to do this. What do we do? You know?
Yeah, and I think that
So I like those interactive
I also
dates
think
for
that the difference too is that I think the whole reason for dating like longtime friends is that they want to see you in an environment that isn't the same environment that you're always in. And I think that once you kind of expose yourself to stuff that
Good point.
you might both feel foreign to, might really give you a better look at the person that you're wanting to date.
Interesting.
Right? Does that make
yeah.
no sense?
No, it makes a lot of sense.
Is that like let's go
Yeah.
shark diving? you know?
Yeah.
Just like let's do
Or
that.
or even just like, let's go to a restaurant where we both have never been and the food's weird and we don't know what we're ordering. We'll point at the menu and just see what happens.
Hey, great question here. By the way, we have the super chat feature. It helps support the show. It also keeps your comments at the top because I had to go back a while to find Josh's. I do want to talk about Comic Book Realtor's question. And this is a really good one. I'm going to address it to Jess now. What now counts as a date in today's world?
That's a great question. Let's see. Well, 3 years ago, I'm trying to think what would constitute as a date. I mean, I was always under the impression it's whenever you both are in like an activity where you both are mutually agreeing that there's potential chemistry or you want to get to know each
And
other
it's
on
more
a
than
more
just a
intimate
friendship
level.
level.
More than a friendship level. Absolutely.
Because you can't just go out with a friend and be like, oh, I went on a date. That's not
Yeah,
a date.
no. If you go out to dinner with a friend and then call it a date and you guys aren't on the same page, that's not true and unfair.
Wait, I have a question then about that. So, I'm sorry, we'll get back
No,
to
you're
this question in
fine.
just a second.
I'm just thinking, like, do you talk to the person first and establish that, or is it?
So, have you ever had an insecure partner?
Yes.
Okay, so have I. Now, this is going to veer off in a second, but I do have a question. So, I've had insecure partners in the past. Oh, I was...
Say it.
No. You know one, personally. But, I'll give you an example. So, she was insecure of me having friends and, like, that I would just like if say like we'll use you as a bad example. You're let's just say you and I, you're a bad example, but like you and I would go and if we went get coffee or something, she would be like, oh what, and it's like what the fuck? It's just like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was weird.
So everything kind of felt like maybe it was a date or maybe.
But obviously, whereas you and I would know that it's like, oh, it's just two people getting coffee.
Right.
Right. How is that handled? That's obviously a problem. So. And that goes back to dating. Do both people have to know that they're on a date? It's not like a surprise. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah. I mean, and that with your partner, that just goes. I mean, that boils down to trust. If you trust your partner and you genuinely ask, and chances are, if you know that the person well enough and you know who their friends are, you kind of get a feel. And girls are, well, that's not true. People are intuitive, so you kind of feel when something's off or when something's not. But yeah, if it's an insecurity, I would just. I don't know how to handle it.
Fuck that. Noise.
Those relationships did not last for me. But to go back to saying, you know, how do you know that it's a date? Like, what constitute as a date? I would just say the mutual understanding that you guys are both exploring something other than a friendship.
We got a really big super chat from Larry tonight.
Larry
Newbill. Oh, Jessica still needs her socks, by the way.
Where are those socks?
I'll get them. My first date was a double date with my best friend and his girlfriend. With set up a blind date back in freshman year of college in Christmas season of 2006.
Ooh, cuffing season.
We all went to dinner at the Kansas City Plaza and a concert. Let me ask you this, Jess.
I like that.
First date, being a group date. Mm-hmm. You in or out?
Do I know the people that are going to be on the date?
You knew. Say one of them's your friend and his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Or boyfriend.
Personally.
You would do it.
I get really nervous. I get shy. And so for me, it would take the pressure off as long as I knew, like, the person. Yeah. Yes. I think that'd be fun.
Man, I just was thinking back now to so many.
Because it takes the pressure off, but I'm also like a kind of a baby when it comes to that. I'm not an aggressive, direct person. That's not true. I mean,
so many things that I did on dumb first dates that were just like, I remember, so there was this girl, there was this guy that used to be on this show way back in the day, and his girlfriend, and they tried to hook me up with their friend. And they told me this.
I'm just trying to figure out who that is now. I'm
you
racking
wouldn't
my
know
brain.
because it was before your time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it was.
Oh, wow.
They told me, hey, this girl loves British accents. Do it the whole time. And I was like, all right.
Okay, see.
I did it.
First mistake.
I did it. And then she like, oh my God. She like fell in love with me. I was like, by the way, I'm not really. And then she's like, I don't care. At this point, I don't care. And I was like, oh, this is crazy. But she was crazy because I remember just being, I mean, our second date was at her place and she was.
That's not a date.
And then
Netflix
I was like, let's get out of here. Let's do something else. She was like, you don't want to stay? And I was like, all right, we can stay. But then we just never talked after that. Actually, I think we're still Facebook friends. And I've never talked to her after those 2 dates.
So let me ask you this. What's the difference of somebody lying on their Tinder profile about their first name for safety reasons, maybe, and then you having a full-blown accent
no.
the first time you meet somebody?
I was prompted by her friends to do that.
Yeah, okay. But, okay. Sure. But she didn't know that you were not a full-blown British boy.
She didn't know that. But I don't think it mattered by the end of this in any way. But
yeah, obviously not if you guys had a second date at her house.
we did, and she was like, well, we don't, like, let's not leave anywhere. But, like,
Is Netflix and chill a date?
No.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's like a third date scenario. It's like a comfortable scenario where if you know that you're comfortable enough with the person you're with that you can show up in pajamas and take out, you're solid.
See, for me, when I think of dating, I think of, like, courtship. Like, I think of the old...
I don't.
Not necessarily old school, but just kind of like that idea that we're both... Because otherwise you're both mutually agreeing that you want to sleep with each other, but there's no relationship happening. I mean, I guess you don't know that going into it, but...
Courtship, I think...
I use that term loosely. It sounds more formal than I'm intending it to. I just mean the idea that I'm putting effort in to getting to know you, and I want to make the night a good night. Whereas I think if you're Netflix and chilling, and he's like, oh, grab Taco Bell on the way, like there's really, and yes, that has happened, and I really just don't think
that's a real story.
That's a real story.
Those are more likely scenarios than anything else that we've talked about. I feel like that happens.
But that is not a date. That is personal decisions. That's a hangout.
Once you're established into a relationship and you get Taco Bell and you want to watch Netflix, that's next level. That's like the next level. It's like, All right, I'm comfortable. Me and my
okay.
ex-girlfriend used to watch The Office all the time and eat Del Taco like all the time.
When you're there and you have that mutual understanding that you are already dating.
By
I
the
totally
way,
agree.
said girl that told me that she has a boyfriend now, she's still on my Netflix account. Do I get rid of it?
Yes.
Right?
100%.
Like, I'm
No,
like-
you should just send her a DM back like, oh, I
Hey.
took my Netflix back. And share her like the same emojis. I changed my password.
She is on my Netflix account. That's true story.
Oh yeah, knock it off. I mean, that's like really, that's eating the cake and
Yeah, it's
having
like,
your cake
hey.
and eating it too.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't really care because the only people that use my Netflix are her and JD and my dad. so
Okay, I guess if you're not getting kicked off, it's not a huge deal.
yeah, it's not a big deal. I mean, you use my HBO Go account.
I sure do.
Every
Thank
single-
God you have HBO.
Every so often, I'll get a text from either you or Maverick that's like, "Hey, what's the password again?"
Dude, I got my father-in-law's Hulu, my dad's Netflix, your HBO, and I've got somebody else's Showtime. But
That's hilarious. Yeah,
Yeah.
every so often, and then
I'm such a streaming whore.
that's great. Yeah, that's great. It was because Maverick hit me up. She's like, "Hey, quick question. What's your password again?" And I was like, "Yo, you got to log in the right way." And I had to like walk her through it. It was hilarious.
That is so funny. Yeah, and if I have to ask my stepsister, I think she'll kill me if I have to ask what our parents' Netflix account is anymore. Like, at this point, just screenshot it and save it, but I haven't, and that poor thing, like, once a month, she's like, oh my gosh.
Oh man, that's
But,
great. All right, let's
yeah.
let's go back to this dating things. There's a lot of great questions in here. Here's another one, and this is Matthew Thompson. You know Matthew. You met him at Morphicon. He said, "Any advice
hi, Matthew.
on getting a first date with someone? 90% of the time, he asks and he gets turned down."
First of all,
Matthew, you're a super charismatic dude. I like you a lot. Like I don't
hate
understand
us.
why you're getting turned down. It doesn't make sense. But go ahead, Jess.
second of all, yeah, just the fact that, here's the thing, you guys need to give yourself more credit. Just the fact that you have the guts to ask somebody out in person, in DMs, text, Tinder, I don't care. Just the fact that you are putting yourself out there multiple times,
Yeah.
there's something to be said for that. I'm serious, because that's, every time takes courage, right? And to the people who say no and reject you, okay, so then it's kind of like what we talked about a few weeks ago. It's just like, don't take it personally. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to relationships, and if one part's out of place, it just doesn't feel right. So you obviously want to find the person that clicks with you, that feels right, it fits like a puzzle. So you'll find that person. Just my biggest advice would just be keep asking, find people that you feel a good connection with, or you think you have something in common with. That's a huge thing, is having something in common, which I'm sure at like conventions and stuff that would probably be a good place to meet people, don't you think? Mm-hmm. No?
Maybe. I'm on the opposite route of that though, because I feel that like if you get somebody that's into the same things is great.
Yeah.
But I think kind of what we do is a little different, so I try to stay away from that now.
I know, but you think for Matt too? I mean, I guess
Look,
he's also has
I
his
like
channel,
Matt,
but
I like Matt a lot, and I think Matthew Thompson. I think that the dude. I don't know why they would turn you down, because you're a charming guy, you're a nice guy, you're a personable dude.
yeah. And you're a great conversationalist. I sat there and talked to you for a minute. You're not. I mean, you're really good at having good conversation that's not surface level. Because I know, at least for me, that's always kind of a turnoff if you can't really get deeper about something. But so it was easy to connect with you because you were honest. So I thought that was really good too. So
let's critique Matt, because you did have conversations with him.
Mm-hmm.
What would be the advice? But like, hey, maybe if you wanted to do this, do your thing.
That's really tough because, like I said, I enjoyed our conversation. I was asking certain questions. We bonded over. I'm not going to say it out loud just in case you wanted to keep that private. We had similar, maybe even not similar. We had a conversation that was a little bit deeper about maybe health and wellness, especially with your mind and mentality, and so I feel like maybe. Actually, no, that's not true, because if he didn't go on a first date, he probably didn't talk to them. I don't know, actually. I really don't have anything to say, because there was nothing that was off-putting. Like I said, I enjoyed our conversation.
He's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy. For a first date, maybe it wouldn't be appropriate, but again, I was talking to you about it, and I kept asking questions, so it's not like you were just, giving me all this information. I was asking, and I was genuinely curious and interested, so... Yeah, so as long as you're keeping a little bit of it a mystery, just so somebody could figure that out. But again, like I said, I
So
was
what
prying.
Jessica's saying, don't put all the cards on the table in the first time.
Yes.
I think the approach, because I like Matthew a lot,
Me too.
and I think that
That's what I'm trying to recommend. That's why this is so difficult, and I'm stammering because
maybe it's this, Matt, is that you're such a nice guy. Sometimes just be a little bit more aggressive. Let's see how that goes. Not like weird aggressive, but like just a little bit more aggressive. You know what I mean?
like what do you mean? Like a
Just
little
putting it out there right away, being like, "Hey, this is my intent." Because I feel like the slow start is also the death of a lot of relationships. Because
Yeah.
I feel I have a lot of friends, and even I have a lot of friends actually that would say that like, man, they put themselves in the friend zone too fast by saying that like by not establishing what they wanted
Yes,
long term.
for sure.
And I think maybe Matt, you established that right away. And I think the flirtatious vibes, even if you get turned down and even if it comes off as a joke, at least if you throw those out there right away, they know that hey, this is a thing that's like, oh, so and so, like it's kind of like a cute thing, right? And I think that the flirtatious vibes have to kind of be out there from the beginning.
Yeah, and I think also I don't know your moves, Matt. I'm just saying like in general.
He has moves like Jagger.
That's right. I'm sure he does. But, you know, like you said, being aggressive, I think maybe instead of, I've kind of noticed too, there's a tendency to be like, you don't want to come off too forward. I'm just talking general, not you, but, you know, you don't want to come off too forward. So you're like, oh, you know, let me follow you on Facebook or Instagram. Because it's kind of like that. I'm not super aggressive, but I still want to stay in contact. So maybe just going straight for the kill and being like, listen, I'd love to hang out. You mind if I get your number?
Yeah.
And then saying it that way, because then when you ask for somebody's number, they know that you're not interested in just being friends.
I like Matt a lot. Matt has a lot there to offer.
You
so.
do, Matt. I really would just like you say, Joe. It's a numbers game.
It's a numbers game, yo. All right, so we're gonna wrap up the show pretty soon, but before we get into that, I do want to ask you, Jess. So we've been talking about first dates a lot. And we've been talking about all the do's and don'ts. What are some definite do's and definite don'ts that fall into your category in your book?
The definite do's are, I know times have changed a little bit, but I love when there's some type of thought put into it.
Yeah, I used to be the great Christmas gift giver. Now I've stopped giving a fuck about everybody.
Because the thought is gone. And even if it's just, hey, I know this great spot, they have really good drinks or they have really good coffee or whatever it is, just like put in a little bit of effort. Or I know it might be weird now to pick people up. I'm kind of old school. I kind of liked that idea of being picked up. But I know in this day and age, that's probably not a great idea.
By the way, Christmas gifts, just going back to that for a second, if anybody gives you a gift card, they don't fucking know you. Okay? And if you give somebody else a gift card, they don't fucking know you. However, if you want to give me a Best Buy gift card, you know me.
Although I was going to say I'm guilty of giving the gift cards. But yeah, so good conversation. Like I said, don't keep it surface level. Ask the basics, but then kind of get into it. Like, you know, what would your perfect day be like? Like, you know, what's the coolest thing that's ever happened to you? Or what's your dream? Like, do you have any dreams, like, or goals or dream job? You know, things that kind of break the ice where it's not just like, what's your favorite color? How many siblings do you have? You know, it gets a little bit in there so you can get to know somebody. Or like, what's an average weekend look like for you? You know, things like that where you kind of get to know the person a little bit better. And people who are good listeners and are genuinely seem interested, and then that makes me want to listen and seem genuinely interested. Because I know when people talk about themselves too, everybody loves to talk about themselves. Let's be real. Everybody loves it. So
Some people don't like it.
most people like it because it's easy. Because you know everything about yourself, so it's an easy topic.
Some people are very private, though.
Some people. But again, it's hard to connect with somebody super private because then you don't feel like the human side of them doesn't come out right away.
I will say this.
So be a little vulnerable. Don't divulge everything. Don't put your problems on somebody. But you can just, you know, get to know somebody on a little bit of a deeper level. Be interested. Body language is big. What are you laughing at?
Larry super chatted us and he says, my gift card to Jessica were socks.
Larry, those were a great gift. One day I will get them.
Yeah, no, you'll get them.
One
Next
day.
week, I'll
They're sitting in a
pre-order them.
box somewhere
I think somebody
in his house.
Not me. I don't think I have them. I think Josh has them.
Why didn't I just take a pair after Paramorphicon? I don't understand. Maybe I was
No, because they were under our table. You could have taken a pair.
That's what I mean. I guess
They're
I was
somewhere. I think I do.
I don't know if they were like inventory stock. I don't know. I just didn't know if I could take them.
So
But I will.
Can you get the Joe's Words of Wisdom thing? Can I get that banner up real quick?
Okay, also, here's the don'ts. This is where I'm going to do.
Oh, sorry. Before we get into
Actually,
that.
yeah, do yours because you already made the banner.
Go ahead.
Don't be rude to any of the wait staff or anywhere. in general, but especially on a date. Don't just talk about yourself the whole time. And do not look unpresentable. Make sure you shower, clean up.
Those go without
Like,
saying, I feel
They
like.
do not. They do not go without saying. Not in this. Nope. Not some of the. It
Just
should.
shower is a thing that you should do when you wake up, I feel like.
Shower. Well, just like put just a little bit more effort into the, into the appearance. Smelling good is a good thing. Like, I love when people smell really good. Yeah, so just be clean and kind and interested. That's the biggest things. It's really hard to yeah, I'm not gonna say that.
No, go ahead, say it.
I was gonna say it's hard to mess up a first date, but
It's pretty hard. It's
kind of easy to mess up a first date.
well, depending on who you are, I agree with that. It's harder or easy, depending on. Because if you already go in with a negative thought about it, it's easy to mess that up.
Yeah. Don't go into it thinking, this might not work. This is just going to be another BS date where I have to pay for food and we never talk again. Like, go into it genuinely, optimistic. Maybe this is a good thing. You never know. And enjoy the night. Like, try to enjoy it. You're hanging out with a brand new person. That alone is pretty exciting.
Now put up my banner.
Yeah.
The more you know. All right, so here's my deal.
They only
I think it may only work for me.
never gets old.
I do think that the first date is, look, this show's called Quest for Player 2. And I think that the kind of spin-off of that was because when you go on a video game quest, there's a lot of these side quests. So in a quest, the first date is your first boss. So if you look at it in a video game format, like, you've done everything else that you can do to get to your first boss. If you can beat that first boss, that's the first challenge. But that's not the only challenge. I mean, there's a lot of things you need along the way. You need to learn how to, like Jessica said, preparation. Preparation's key. What that means is shower, smell good, be presentable. Number 2, you gotta be impressive, whether you're male or female. Try to impress the person you're with, because the way I always look at first dates, especially if they've been in relationships before, is that they're like, it's like going to a lot for a used car, and understanding what that, because you're trying to sell each other on the best parts of you.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
once you actually start getting into that car, you have to be able to assume that, okay, number 1, you're comfortable with, like, okay, the air conditioning doesn't work. Am I comfortable with that? Okay, fine, I'm comfortable. But you got to be comfortable with all that stuff. Some of that stuff can be worked on, but don't try to change people, especially not on the first date. Mm-hmm. Just try to accept who they are. When you're, just like a video game, when you're on your first quest, go through that quest, get to that first boss, and once you warrant a second date, then you moved on to the next level. Once you move on to the next level, though, it gets a lot more complicated. So the first date is just the first task, and this is only our
metaphor.
what? Huh?
Good metaphor.
This is only our fourth episode into the show, and I think that the more you find out about us, the more open we're going to be with you, the more open you guys are going to be with us, but we're going to bring you our quests. Hers is almost complete. So think of this. With her quest, she's went through the first date. She's went through all the levels. Now she's at the final boss, which is marriage. Mm-hmm. So then you got to make it through that.
A whole nother game.
Whole nother game at that point. That's the sequel game. For me, I'm still, I don't want to say failed, because you get extra lives in this Quest for Player 2. And in Quest for Player 2, when you get those extra lives, it teaches you, just like a video game does, not to make the same mistakes, to die again. Mm. And I think that once you kind of don't make those mistakes, you can, like any video game, you kind of know where the bad guy is. You can either, know how to beat him at this point. So you know how to get through that. You got to learn every single time you go down that path to, look at that, Larry Newbill, another super chat, the more you know. Every time you go down that every time you go down that path and you learn more, you get more knowledge, obviously, but then you also get an advancement into the game. Once you keep going into the game, you get to Jessica's level where you get to that final boss, and then you get to that sequel once it's done. So all of that, look, if you look at your relationships and all this stuff like that, you're always going to learn, and learning's a good thing because it'll teach you further on down the line. But the first date's just the first boss. I think next week's episode, though, we should do a special one. Yeah. And it should be... Layla says, Joe, you should be a motivational speaker.
No kidding, Layla. I'm sitting here like the tear in my eye.
No, I think next week's episode, I think we should do red flags.
Ooh, I would love that.
So next week we're going to do red flags, especially since it's
Great.
football season. There are flags on the play. We're going to throw flags on relationships.
Let's do it.
So next week's episode is going to be red flags. Guys, I want to thank you guys so much for joining us and really kind of like living our lives with us as we go through the process of our personal lives. And Jessica, you have any things to say before we wrap out?
I would say just be yourself, but be engaged. Like put on your it's like you said, a job interview. You're not going to change yourself, but just be yourself. Present the best parts of you. Be interested. Eye contact. But it, like you were saying about the levels, it gets easier. Every single time you do one date, then it gets easier, and then you can kind of get in the flow. And it's kind of like a dance. It's like the art of conversation or anything else. But you'll be great. Just yeah.
We got Matthew Thompson. He did give us a final super chat. He says, "Is the video game a dating sim?" Actually, I always look at the video game more so of like Legend of Zelda. I mean, sorry, I look at the Legend of Zelda video game, the perfect relationship game. Mainly
Why not
because,
Mario?
Well, Mario 2, I guess. I guess Mario as well.
Yeah.
They're both games where they have, especially old school Legend of Zelda, they have formulaic kind of like journeys that you go on metaphorically, and if you die, you can get extra lives. But if you die, you learn from your mistake. And learning from your mistake is always going to propel you forward into the future.
Yes.
And I think that once you save the princess, whether it be Mario, whether it be Legend of Zelda, and once you save the princess, that's you completing your journey. But you got to get there first. And you got to get to the first boss. That's the first date. You have to understand. Because let's even say this was a video game and you saved the princess, but she didn't like anything that you were. Well, guess what? The whole game is teaching you.
How to get there.
Yeah, at least Quest for Player 2 is teaching you how to make sure that you're the right person for that princess. And next week, we're going to be talking about red flags. Red flags doesn't just go into lust. It also goes into things. Layla asked if it goes into lust. It doesn't just go into that. I think there's a lot of, like, I have a red flag, and this is just a personal one for me, is that if I'm with a girl and I'm trying to fall asleep in a bed and she's still watching TV, I can't fall asleep. That's a red flag for me because I cannot sleep.
That's a non-negotiable?
Because I can't sleep with noise. Like, it's a weird thing, right? But I can't do it. I mean, I can try to maybe adapt to it, but I cannot do it well. So, like, we're going to talk about our personal red flags.
Yeah.
Red flags you see in a relationship. And just general moments where you should pass on. We got another super chat. So, dressing up like a turtle and kidnapping a girl, out of the question. Actually, do it.
I'm going to go no on that one.
But, guys, thank
I don't
you.
want you in jail, my friend.
Yeah, seriously. Thank you guys so much for joining us on our quest for Player 2. We hope you guys join us next. What day is this?
We are on Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Next week.
Next Tuesday, we're going to be back with another live episode. That's going to be Red Flags. And we want to hear all of your... By the way, if you want to send us your video comments so we can play them at the end of the show, hit us up at fanquestions at thathashtagshow.com. Send in your red flags. What are your personal red flags? Send them in a video form to us on that hashtag show. Fanquestions at thathashtagshow.com. In the description below.
Because everybody's are different.
Yeah, everybody's are different. And we would just want to kind of like talk about red flags. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Jessica, where can everyone find you on social media?
You guys could find me at Jess_Heidenreich. That's me. I'm mostly on Instagram. And Jess Heidenreich or Jessica Heidenreich on Facebook. If you do follow me on Twitter, I tweet twice a year, and that's J_Bojangles.
Did I tell you what happened in New York when I was at New York Comic Con?
No.
I used your Twitter account.
Awesome.
I didn't use your Twitter account. So what I did is, there's a show. I'm not going to say what show it was, but there's a show where I couldn't figure out what. I didn't really watch it. And I had all these questions prepped, and I had to write them. But I didn't want to be rude and kind of be like, I have to memorize them. So I used all of our hashtag show cast members' Twitter's accounts to be like, we asked all the people from Twitter, and this is what Jay Bojangles asked. And that's what I got through. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. I am Joe with that hashtag show. You guys already cheered me up by joining us tonight. You can follow me on social media at that hashtag Joe on all social media. And you can find us right here at that hashtag show. I'll see you Saturday. I'm back on the Ranger shows. But, actually, on Thursday. I'll see you Thursday. We do the Superhero News Network. So if you want to talk superheroes, you know where to find us. Right here at that hashtag show where you can stay up to date with everything trending
in geek pop culture.
We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.